From fertilized egg to garlic bulb-sized baby, your little one quickly goes through some amazing changes during her early weeks in your womb. She starts to take shape during week 5, transforming from an egg into an embryo. Her umbilical cord forms, which connects her to your blood supply. She's big enough to measure by week 6, but big is relative. She's just 1/8 of an inch long. Her heart and lungs are growing too. Next week, she's the shape of a tiny tadpole and roughly the size of a pomegranate seed. Teeny limb buds are forming. Eventually, they'll become her arms and legs. Her eyes, mouth, and stomach are starting to take shape too. Your little one is about as big as a coffee bean by week 8. She can move around and swim now. Her tiny webbed fingers and toes are growing. Plus, her major organs have almost totally formed. Next week, she's the size of a peanut. Her little eyelids are growing in, and her tiny nose appears too. Her skeleton also starts taking shape, although the bones are soft. Your baby may be 1 inch big by week 10. That makes her about the size of a green olive. Her fingers and toes are becoming distinct, and her arms bend at the elbows. During week 11, your little one might double in size to 2 inches. She's the size of a strawberry, and her teeth, intestines, and genitals are forming. By the end of your first trimester, your baby is almost as big as a 2.5-inch bulb of garlic. Her profile, complete with tiny nose and chin, have grown in too. She's come a long way this first trimester, and she's got a lot of growing left to do. Your baby grows and changes fast during your second trimester. Here's an inside peek at her amazing progress. By week 13, she's as large as a lemon, about 3 inches long, and she's learning how to swallow by taking an occasional gulp of the amniotic fluid around her. Next week, she's a little bigger, the length of a bell pepper. But by week 15, your baby could be the size of a large russet potato, around 6 inches long. Her bones get harder and stronger during week 16. Now she can flex her arms and legs. Plus, her eyes can slowly move around behind closed lids. Next week, she's the size of an asparagus spear, almost 8 inches long, and she's on the move, doing flips and rolls. She can also make a fist and hold it to her mouth. Her face gets more defined during week 18. Those little eyelids, ears, and upper lip all come into sharper focus. Plus, she can hear sounds now. Your little one may be over 9 inches long, about the size of an eggplant by week 19. Her lungs' main airways start to form. Something super adorable happens in week 20. Your baby puts her feet and toes in her mouth. She also gets lots of sleep. Noise and movement can wake her up, so keep it down, would ya? Just kidding. Next week, your 10.5-inch tot is making strong kicks and turns. She's also forming brown fat for warmth. Your baby's genitals are completely formed around week 22. It's possible to see her eyebrows now too, and soft, warm hair called lanugo covers her. By week 23, her fingers and toes look like tiny versions of yours, and they've got fingerprints. Plus, your little one now has a secret talent. She can hiccup. At week 24, your baby is pineapple size, about 12.5 inches long and 1.5 pounds. She could survive outside your womb if she was born now. Your little one knows the sound of your voice at week 25. She can recognize other familiar sounds too, when she's not sleeping. She snoozes 80% of the time now. By next week, she knows how to suck, and she'll probably try that skill out on her thumb. At the end of your second trimester on week 27, your little one is the length of an English cucumber, over 14 inches long, and all that moving around is paying off, giving her more and more muscle tone. It's the third trimester, and your baby keeps on growing, gaining weight, and getting ready to meet the world. Here's a week-by-week look at the changes. Your little one is about as long as a large bok choy by week 28. Her eyes can open, and her toenails are starting to grow in. Next week, she weighs about 3 pounds. She's getting rounder as she gains fat, and her skin's becoming smoother. At week 30, she's about 16 inches long, the length of a bundle of collard greens. Her eyes open, close, and respond to light. Your baby's the length of a rhubarb stalk next week, and she's continuing to put on weight fast. She's around 3.5 pounds the week after. That makes her almost as hefty as a cantaloupe. Your little one is up to 4 pounds by week 33. She swallows, yawns, and practices breathing. Plus, her brain now controls her body temperature. Next week, she's about as hefty as a sugar pumpkin, 4.5 pounds. She's putting on baby fat, and her skin isn't see-through anymore. Your baby weighs about 5 pounds by week 35. She keeps practicing her breathing, too. During week 36, she's about 18 3/4 inches long. Wow, that's the length of a Swiss chard. Her fingernails have reached the ends of her fingers. Her skin is pink, and those little legs are chubby. Next week, she weighs about as much as a honeydew melon, 6 pounds. Plus, her bones and muscles are ready for the outside world. The week after, she's about 6 1/4 pounds, as heavy as a large cabbage. It's getting awfully crowded in there, and it's almost time to produce this produce. Your little one is about 6 1/2 pounds at week 39. Her lungs are ready to breathe and cry, and as she drops into your birth canal, her head molds into a cute little cone shape. By week 40, your baby is around 7 1/4 pounds. She's come a long way these last 3 months, and she can't wait to meet you.